Okay, so what are you saying, people, and welcome back to your favorite YouTube channel. So today, guys, like always, another weekly analysis for you. On the screen are the pairs that we'll be analyzing today, but make sure you do stay to the end of the video as I do have a bonus pair in store. But yeah, guys, as always, we'll go for my trades of the week first and then progress into the analysis shortly after. So if there is a particular pair you do want to see my analysis to, feel free to skip ahead using the timestamps below. But I had two positions this week. Both were on pound NZD. One was a loss and one I am still currently in. Both looking to buy the market, expecting more upside. I've been touching on reasons why throughout my analysis and throughout the streams during the week, but a quick summary. On the higher time frames, we do have somewhat of an uptrend here scaling to the daily chart. We have taken out some structure there on the left. We've seen a really nice impulsive leg. I'm looking at this as our retracement, and now I'm expecting another impulse leg back to the highs up there. And recently had a really major break of structure above this resistance, so I'm looking for that to now act as support and see the next continuation. Had a couple stabs at this one. First was a loss, second one was just after the CPI. Really nice strong momentum shift there on the hourly and the 4H. Hopped into an entry after that candle close, and since then the market has just been back and forth, and the close for the week just around my entry price. So I'll see how that continues going into next week. I am holding it over the weekend, but of course you will be updated during my streams and next weekly analysis how that trade gets on. But just pound NZD I was trading this week. But in terms of the analysis, things are looking very, very interesting going into next week, because we had all that momentum from CPI, which continued to spew out for the rest of the week. So we've been seeing some really big moves, big break of structures, and now I do have a lot more clarity with the dollar pairs. I have been saying I'm not liking what I'm seeing with dollar pairs. The XY is not looking too clear, but yeah, it's looking very, very clear right now. Humongous move to the upside, taking out this high, really showing to us that the buyers are back in town. So simply for next week, I'll be looking for pullback and continuations. And the overall target, I'll be looking at push back to the high at 107. We've had a major big break of structure back here, taking out this high. The market's been very slow, but we've been printing these higher lows, 1, 2, 3 there as well. Now with a big significant break of structure, looking at pullbacks and continuations back to that high. So the analysis going forward for DXY for me is looking very, very clear. Unless something major happens, I'm definitely just looking for buying opportunities for the next couple of weeks. Well, how long it takes us to get back into that resistance at 107.300. So expecting a lot more upside for the DXY. So taking that information back into Euro USD, we're looking for downside, and the corresponding target would be this swing low down here at 1.04900. So that's what I'm expecting Euro USD to end up in the next couple of weeks or so, depending how long it takes. It could be less, but I am looking for pullbacks and continuations to the downside. So everything looks relatively simple for Euro USD now, because we've got those major break of structures, and of course those will be leaving behind really nice fresh levels of price support, now turn resistance. So if you can get some pullbacks into these areas, that will be much appreciated, and I will be looking to short Euro USD and simply continue this bearish momentum back to the corresponding low in the daily chart. So in terms of the buys, very, very bearish on Euro USD, very bullish on dollar. So as we take a look at dollar pairs, you'll probably be seeing similar buys across the board. And yeah, I'll just be looking at opportunities to take advantage of that dollar strength. So Euro USD, to me, analysis pretty straightforward. We've been pretty consistent with these lower highs, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now they've had a significant break of structure. Everything makes a lot more sense now, and I'll be expecting to see this momentum continue at least back down to the lows here. We potentially could go a lot further, because remember, we've had this humongous impulse. This could just be a long consolidation / correction, and we could be seeing the continuation of that. But of course, we'll touch upon that at a later date. For now, looking at a push into this low. So dropping back to the 4H, the plan is waiting for some pullbacks into 1.07017, or this low here at 1.07261 to then short Euro USD to lows. So that is the analysis going into next week. Okay, so over to USD JPY. So again, significant break of structure this week above 152. This was a major level of resistance that held for the previous 2 years, at least since late 2022. price has been holding onto this area. So it's been a significant price for dollar yen. And now that we've really cracked through that with a massive candle on Wednesday, again after CPI, things are looking very, very bullish for dollar yen. Now for dollar yen, pretty much every time frame is bullish. Monthly chart bullish, weekly chart bullish, daily chart bullish, 4H bullish. All the major time frames are pointing up. So as a trend trader, someone looking to follow structure in these conditions, I can only be looking to buy. I said coming into the week on my last weekly analysis, I'm looking for two things: either a big break of this area, or we pull back deeper, maybe Bank of Japan mess around and we see price kind of collapse a little bit. I'll be looking for a higher low. And I was talking about this area here, closer to the 150, 149, 500 area. This could be a really smart place to buy dollar yen and catch that next higher low. That didn't happen. Price just broke very aggressively to the upside. So the next best opportunity for me is going to be a clear break and retest of this area. Still looking to buy back up again. Again, there's not really much targets to aim for. In terms of technicals, we haven't been at these prices for a very, very long time. I think since the 1990s, we haven't been at these price points. So it's not like we're going to scroll back and find the level to trade to. So the most logical place, let's say if we do pull back from this height, that would be a natural target for the trade. And it makes a lot of sense. Back to the swing high. We'll see what happens from then. So yeah, dollar yen, I'm still very bullish. The market's still printing higher highs and higher lows. So I can't really be bearish based on the way, based on the way I look to anticipate the market. So I will still be expecting more upside. There's a big possibility dollar yen may just continue a lot higher without the retest. If that's the case, then there might not be opportunity to trade it. But if we do have a pullback, this 152 area, of course, we haven't had the retest of it. It's going to be a really, really nice level of support. If we get some good confirmations, I think that'll be a really good position to get long and trade it back to the high at 153.336 or from wherever we start to pull back from. So dollar yen going to next week, still very bullish, looking for the retest of 152, but expecting more upside for dollar yen. Okay, so onto dollar CAD. So dollar CAD didn't go as planned. I've been looking to trade it for a while, but I'm waiting for price to break out of this channel to the downside because I have been looking for shorts for dollar CAD. But of course, off the back of CPI, we've seen a lot of dollar strength and we have broken to the upside of this channel. It looks like we could be making our way, if I scale to the weekly chart, back to major resistance around the 1.39 area, just below it. We've got major resistance up there. It does look like price is looking to go and test that same area. The level of resistance I was looking for price to hold essentially and then start to trend back down, didn't hold, and price has seen a very, very, very confident weekly candle closure above that area. So I will be expecting more upsides for dollar CAD and a continuation back to that resistance, whether we break through it or reject it. We'll speak about that at a later date. But in terms of the next possible move for dollar CAD, I would be favoring upside for dollar CAD. And of course, we do have that bullish bias with the DXY as well, adding a lot of confidence. So going into next week, if I scale to the 4H, I think there are two really nice levels to buy from. A retest of this area here, brief consolidation, really nice break to the upside. This would be a nice healthy pullback on the 4H/hourly time frame. If the market wants to have a slightly deeper pullback, then we do have the level back down here. Let me move this daily level out the way. We do have a nice level of resistance where again, the price broke through really aggressively. Hasn't had the retest yet. If we see a lot of weakness in the dollar and a big retracement, then possibly 1.364 could be the level to look to buy from. But I think realistically, the momentum we're seeing in the market at the moment, especially with DXY, I think most likely we'll see a retest of this area if the market is going to have that pullback for us around 1.372. But I would also keep an eye on this area here. But in terms of the bias, it is bullish for dollar CAD. We've seen a significant break of this channel. So looking for pullbacks and continuations, and we've got the massive weekly level there around 1.388, which could be a really nice swing target depending how you want to manage your trades. You can put your targets at the high. Say for example, we push up, pull back from here. That could be a smarter target as well. So that'll be up to you. But in terms of my swing trajectory for dollar CAD, the next key level I have is 1.388. So that's what I'm expecting dollar CAD to head towards over the next week or two. So yeah, going forward with dollar CAD, looking for buy opportunities. I'm really liking the dollar pairs for next week. Dollar CAD, not so much. I think there are other better dollar pairs, which we'll get into shortly. but I do expect more upside for dollar CAD next week. So keep an eye on a retest of 1.372 and also 1.364 going into next week. Okay, so moving on to euro pound. So euro pound still do not like this pair whatsoever. I am still looking at this as consolidation with a couple fake outs to the upside. So if I draw this as a range, so that's a big fake out, that's another big fake out. So price hasn't been moving well smoothly. I said coming into this week that if we can get a big break to the upside, possibly a nice retest and a continuation, didn't really see that happen. It just amounted into another fake out. So with euro pound, we do have this natural kind of bearish trend in the market. We have been pushing to the downside, not the cleanest one, and we are trading a major support as well. So it's definitely not a trend that I'm looking to follow at the moment. But if you are looking to trade euro pound for some reason, then I would be focusing on the high of the range here. We've just had two fake outs to the upside. So that tells me that price is really struggling to break higher and most likely will continue to head lower. So price is kind enough to pull back, retest resistance, which again has held very well previously. I do think this would be a smart place to look for that next lower high. We've got one over here, second over there, looking for a third. So basically just connecting the dots, and then again another swing back to the low of the range, which is around the 0.85 mark, and then we see what happens from then. We could bounce and push straight back up for all I know. But euro pound has been very choppy, so we have to show that respect. Not trying to be too aggressive with these conditions, and you want to be making sure you're buying and selling from good levels of support and resistance, because we just keep bouncing from level to level here. So I'll look at 0.857 as a smart place to short from, trying to anticipate the next lower high here whilst looking to respect the high of the range. Then again, looking to short back down to the low of the range will make a lot of sense. Back to 0.85, there's also a key level of support here as well, so that will also be a smart place to take profit or partial out. That'll be up to you depending on your trade management, but this is the opportunity that does make sense to me. Would I look to trade it? No, there are better pairs out there, which I'll share on my watch list, and you'll see as the video progresses. But if you're looking to trade euro pound, I do like some shorts here around 0.857, targets 0.85330, and ultimately 0.85 as well. So that's the plan going to next week for euro pound. Okay, so moving on to Aussie dollar. So this is one of my favorite pairs going into next week. I'm liking what I'm seeing, a lot of aggressive bearish momentum, and we're starting to take out some of these lows here, which is the key thing I said on stream, because Aussie dollar has been ranging, but now we're starting to show commitment to the downside. If I go to the higher time frames, market's still respecting structure, and I will be looking to see if we can make our way back down to this low here at 0.62983. So now that we've seen a really nice daily candle closure, closing below, weekly looks good as well. Lovely wicks to the upside, closing below these wicks. So it looks like we're starting to break through this support, and then we can use it as resistance next week for a retest and a continuation to the downside. So that remains the plan for Aussie dollar. And of course, with that bullish bias going into next week with dollar as well, it does add up for some nice confidence. So there's two areas I'm looking to sell from: a retest of this area here, which you've just broken, or a retest of this area here at 0.65071. So just looking for pullbacks for these dollar pairs. Essentially, Euro USD to me looks the best, but Aussie dollar is a close second. And again, I'm not looking to trade them both. I'll see whichever one gives me the better entry, better setup, and I'll look to take that one. But I'll be trading in the same direction. I'm looking for those shorts in Aussie dollar. Really nice momentum. We'll hope to see a retest of this area, because it's been a bigger breakout than this level here, but we shall see. Beggars can't be choosers. And like I said, targets back down to that low. There are some minor targets to this area here as well. Big push momentum that can make up for a nice target, but it's up to you if you're your trade management. But I do expect us to end up back at those lows around 0.63, we'll call it. So yeah, going to next week for Aussie dollar, really looking to short this one. I'm expecting a lot more momentum now. DXY for me has really cemented itself bullish, so I'm confident with that bias. And Aussie dollar breaking shot to the downside, of course, adds that confidence, adds that bias as well. So now just looking for pullbacks next week and getting into these positions. So keep an eye on some shorts from 0.648 and also 0.65, and ultimately targets down at 0.63 for next week. Okay, so moving on to NZD CAD. So NZD CAD, I'm liking the shorts for this one. This one will make the watch list for myself. I'm liking the price action here. Coming into the week, I was talking about a retest of this level, which didn't quite map out, didn't quite unfold how I wanted it to. Price did break through this level here, and I did touch upon this area here, but we didn't actually quite test that level either. I wasn't expecting price to have that big of a pullback, but it almost did play out with a retest of that area just before CPI, but we didn't quite test it. But nonetheless, going into next week, I think there are some nice opportunities starting to map out. A break and retest of this low is what I'm looking at. We're starting to print these lower highs in, one over there, second over there, looking for price to break structure, retest, print that third lower high, and then continuously looking to short back down to these lows and a lot further potentially. If I do scale to the daily chart, you can see we are printing these lower highs here as well. So we had the high over there, push the downside, low, push to the upside, lower high, push the downside, lower low. So now again, anticipating this to be our lower high for again a lower low and possibly a retest of this support level at 0.79. So for me, everything's pretty straightforward. We have this bearish trend here, which price is still respecting that previous swing high. Price has not broken through. So I'm expecting us to nestle back down at those lows at some point sooner or later. So my consensus, my plan is just looking for those pullbacks, those break and retest, keep shorting and keep looking to take NZD CAD back to the lows until something drastic changes, a big break of structure. Then I'll look to reevaluate things. But at the moment, everything's looking good to the downside. So the opportunity I'll be focused on will be the break and retest of this low, looking for the next lower high, and targets back to that low makes sense. Like I said, I do expect us to eventually go further, but I think for next week, this looks like a smart target to have. And then we can see what we can get from there. Hopefully some scalings as well. But yeah, NZD CAD breaking test of 0.81680 and expecting a push back down to 0.80700 for next week. Okay, so moving on to pound NZD. So like I said, I am actually currently in a trade at the moment. My entry is around about here, so just above where current price is and a little bit of drawdown. But essentially the level I'm buying from, which is this area here, which was that area I was talking about last week, is still at play and still holding. So I'm still expecting more upside for pound NZD. I'm looking at the higher time frame structure. We're seeing bullish structure here, high, low, new high over there, looking at this being the new low. So I'm looking at new high, or at least a push back to the prior high, which would be this swing point here. So that is the plan for pound NZD, and you can see we're starting to print this structure here as well. So low, high, higher high, anticipating another higher low for another push back to the high as well. So we're getting bullish structure within bullish structure, which is fantastic because it adds confidence across different time frames, which is always a great confidence to have in your trading. And I'm in a break and retest of this area here. So if you're looking to get involved with pound NZD, I think the next best opportunity is either, if we do come back down to retest and see another entry signal here, that of course would be a smart place to look to get involved. But I think an even smarter area would be if price can break through the resistance here, because on the lower time frames, 4H hourly, we do have somewhat of a bearish trend here. So as you can see, the market is forming this this bearish trend, which could potentially continue and break through the level and continue further, have a deeper correction than anticipated. But if we do start to break that resistance, that's a good sign that, okay, the buyers are step backing in the lower time frames as well. We're seeing a significant break of structure there. That shows me that, okay, we're most likely going to see now the continuation from that. So a smart area to look to buy pound NZD would be on the breaking retest of this area here. Or of course, you could wait for a retest of that level there. The pros for that would be a better risk reward, better entry. So yeah, that will be favorable, but sometimes you could of course get stopped out, and this would have been a bit safer. So it's up to you what you want to do with that. But pound NZD, in terms of my bias, is definitely to the upside, and these look like smart opportunities next week. Of course, I'll just be sitting in my trade. If I do get some scaling opportunities, I won't turn them down. If price is going to continue higher and give me another break and retest that opportunity, I'll hop back in and add some more positions there. But we'll see if that unfolds, because of course it could still fail as well. So pound NZD longs look good. Retest the 2.09920, 2.09188. Good levels to long from, and just keeping it simple for next week back to this high makes a lot of sense. Like I said, I think we can go a lot higher, but we'll look at 2.11682 for next week. Okay, so on to CAD Yen. So CAD Yen, I'm still bullish on this market because we've had no significant break of structure yet. Market is still showing higher highs and higher lows. So I'm still bullish, as we can see there. However, we're getting some signs that the market is starting to slow down. You can see we created new highs over here. And then as soon as we did that, we impulsively pushed to the downside there with that bearish momentum. So that is a bit of a red flag, no longer creating healthy higher highs. And of course, the fact that we have formed a lower high over here in comparison to that high, push, pullback, push, not best sign. So it does look like we might get a bigger retracement. You know, remember, this is our big impulse leg to the upside. We could see a pullback. I'm looking at price coming into this area here, as I was speaking about last week. Really nice area of brief consolidation, big breakout to the upside. Does line up with some nice resistance there as well. Add to that support there briefly. This is a pretty healthy pullback. If I whip out the Fibonacci from the low to the high, we're looking at roughly 50, 0.618. So in a healthy area where we could expect price to come into, breakthrough support here, maybe take out some early buys and then see some upside. And we'll see how far price can go. We may swing all the way back to highs. It may just be, you know, half the way before we do then dump further if price actually does want to have a big reversal. I do expect the yen pairs eventually to have somewhat of a prolonged retracement or a reversal maybe at some point this year, but I'm not going to try and anticipate that before it's actually, you know, coming into fruition. But for now, CAD Yen for me still looks like a good buy. There may be some shorter term counter trend selling opportunities, retesting some areas up here, basically the consolidation. We may get a nice retest there, and again a sell opportunity, take it back down, so you may be able to sell it to then buy it at a later date. Not really opportunity I'll be looking at. I'll be looking at pro trend, following that overall momentum across different time frames, so I won't really be eyeing up some sells there. But on the lower time frames, it might make a lot more sense to then short, to then buy at a later date and take advantage of that opportunity should we see that retracement. But again, we are starting to form these bearish structure here, so there definitely is some sense there and logic. But for me, I'll be focusing on the buys 110.386. So it's like a really smart place to get involved for some long. So that will be the analysis going into next week. We'll see if we can get some buys for CAD Yen at a point where we have a healthy retracement, maybe some sells before that, but I'll be focused on the longs. Okay, so pound USD up next. Things are looking interesting finally for pound USD. Reason I say that is because it looks like we're actually breaking out of this consolidation. We've been trading in this range for a very, very long time, and it looks like price has actually had a significant break of that area. I thought we did back over here with this big break to the upside. Turned out to be a big fake out. Price came back down straight away. So now we've got another breakout here to the downside, potentially after this big fake out. I'm looking at this as being the real deal. I'm looking at pullbacks and continuations for pound USD. Potentially we could be looking at price coming back to the lows here around 1.20772, which is a pretty long way down. So we've had a prolonged consolidation. Maybe now we can get a nice prolonged trend. Typically we see that the bigger the consolidation, normally the bigger the breakout or bigger the trend that does follow. So I think we can, if this is not a fake out, of course, I think we can see a really nice healthy trend shape up for pound USD. And then it will be my job, our job, to be looking for those pullbacks and then shorting pound USD at some really healthy areas. And for me, the best place so far would definitely be the breaking retest of this support level at 1.25300. That looks like a really nice tidy place for breaking retest. We've had a significant break, no retest yet, so it's a nice fresh level of resistance to look at, and of course is the low of the range as well. So I don't really want to see price break above. I can see price maybe wicking and maybe having a big fake out above and then coming straight back below. The market's not perfect, but I don't really want to see price breaking above this area, retesting a support and pushing higher into it. Then that will be a big fake out for me, and then I'll probably be back neutral on pound USD. But for now, we've had a really significant break. I'm liking momentum. You know, multiple things aligning across different time frames as well for the dollar pairs. So that's a real good confidence in the trade, in the analysis. So I'm really liking what I'm seeing. Pound USD will be on the watch list as well. Keeping a close eye on a retest of 1.25200. potentially a long way down back to the lows here, but we could be looking at some intermediate targets coming back into the lows here. Even these areas here will make lovely targets to have where you can secure partials or trade a stop loss. That'll be up to you with your management plan and how you want to manage your trades. But I do think there's a long way to go for pound USD. So keep an eye on the break and we tested that area. Looking for a lot more downside next week. Okay, so next up we've got pound CAD. So pound CAD, I'm still bullish on pound CAD. I was talking about a retest of this area here to long. If I quickly scale up to the daily time frame, you can see why I'm still bullish, because the market is still very persistent with these higher highs and higher lows over here. We're still printing them and the overall trend is still very much to the upside. So I'm still a buyer of pound CAD, or looking to buy pound CAD. I did say a retest this area here could be a smart place to long. I wasn't really liking the retracement, so I stayed away from pound CADs and I was focusing on other pairs at the time. I was looking to buy pound NZD. I didn't want to buy pound CAD as well because it's the same currency, and buying pound, I might as well just pick the best one, which for me, pound and NZD look a lot better. So I'm in that trade at the moment. Pound CAD, potentially, if we can continue that uptrend here and break the high, and hopefully pound NZD is break even by then, or I'm just out of pound NZD, then I'll look to anticipate some longs, probably on a retest of this high, because at that point we're seeing the 4H really take charge and show strong bullish structure and bullish momentum, and a break of that high will really put the icing on the cake for me, and I'll be looking for a retest of 1.724 and targets back to the relative swing high at that area there. So I do like the buys for pound CAD at this level here. If we see a bit more development, then buys do make sense down here as well. Like I said, I won't be looking to take that opportunity or really look too much into it, because I'm trading a pound pair right now, so I need to get that at least to break even before I can start looking at pound CAD for trades. But it is a smart area. We did form a really nice wick there just before the weekly candle close. So if we can throw some more wicks come Monday, Tuesday, there could be some nice entries to take back into resistance. Doesn't have to be anything too crazy. Back to that high, that could be a really nice trade. And then possibly a breaking retest of that, we can look to add some more positions or take new positions. But the overall direction for me for pound CAD is still very much up based on the higher time frame bullish structure. So pound CAD, keep an eye open for a nice retest on 1.711 or 1.723. But yeah, expecting a lot more upside for pound CAD. So overall targets back at the high at 1.73437. Okay, so over to pound yen. So again, similar to CAD yen, market structure is still bullish for me, still printing higher highs and higher lows. So I still do have that bullish bias because no major structure has broken yet. And I'm still looking for buying opportunities. So I'm looking at this area here for deeper correction into 188,800, we'll call it. I'm also looking at the double bottom here as well. Solid support. If we can hold that, I do think that's a smart place for, again, buying that higher low. If the market is going to continue bullish, I do expect it to be from one of these two areas. And of course, targets, we've got the high over here. We've of course got the price swing high back up there at 193, or even some areas before that. If you're looking to take your profit a little bit earlier, this is an area where bearish traders will be looking to get involved. 191, breaking retest of that low, not a bad place for a sell. So going into next week for pound yen, I'm still bullish and looking for opportunities for price to go higher. We are reacting with this area at the moment, but with such a significant push, I want to see a bit more development here before I do look to long. And if price does break through that, like I said, I'll keep an eye on that area there for, again, the same opportunity, looking to long pound yen and anticipating that trend to continue until it doesn't, essentially, until we start breaking through some critical lows like this low here. If we start breaking through that, then yeah, I'm definitely backing away, and I'm probably looking at some selling opportunities going forward from that. So this is a very, very important low for me, very impulsive move. I'm still expecting upside from that aspect, and expecting the trend to continue at least back to one of these highs here, and we'll see where we can go from there. But keeping a close eye on 190.294, also 188.976 as some really smart places to buy pound yen, and expecting the trend to continue. So that will be planned next week for pound yen. Okay, so on to gold. So gold, we were very bullish this week, but Friday had something to say about that, and we came to the downside very, very aggressively. The week still closed bullish, even despite that momentum, of course, with a big wick to the upside, but it does look like potentially gold might be having that breather we've been expecting. We've got the prior swing low there, so of course that's a prior higher low. This here would be the higher high. If price does break through this area here, as I'm expecting more upside with DXY, so it looks like that could be looking to price into gold, because gold has been quite bullish, so has dollar over the past kind of week or two. And of course, gold's still been flying to the upside, so we haven't really seen that inverse correlation between the two markets, but it looks like maybe that is starting to factor into gold now, with DXY being super bullish, and now we're seeing the gold take a hit and some downside there. So if you do break structure, I do think we can see that lower high and some bearish opportunities. Would I take the trade? No, I'm still kind of overall a bull on gold. I think now we're just going to see that retracement naturally, find the higher low somewhere, and then be on our way again. So that's more of the trade that I'm after. And I'm more eager to sell the FX majors rather than sell gold, really, because of the conditions of the market and the setup. But on the low time frames, there could be a really smart trade there if we do get a nice breaker structure. Price really does push through, we see dollar continue to push up. There could be a nice retest there to then sell, and anticipate some counter opportunities there for gold. But then for me, I'll be looking at areas to buy as such, and also this area here as well. These are some smart areas to look to long if we see the necessary development from gold. I'm not looking to jump straight in. If I start to see some break structure, higher highs, higher lows, then I will be looking to buy these areas 22.62 and also 22.20. So yeah, for gold, I would say if we get that break structure, I'm anticipating some more bearish momentum. Like I said, overall still gold. I'm overall still bullish on gold. So I'm not entertaining the sell opportunities. I'd rather just sell the FX majors, much higher probability trade. So yeah, I'd rather sell the FX majors and just wait for buying opportunities on gold, which may take a week or two, depending on how long the pullback lasts, the development of it. But I'm happy to wait that time. In the meantime, there could be some nice counter trend opportunities if we do see that break of structure. So keep an eye out for that on some lower time frames. But that will be my plan going into gold for next week. Okay, so on to Bitcoin. So Bitcoin, I did say looking for buying opportunities this week on a retest of this low here. It didn't quite come into play. We did see a pretty aggressive move there Friday, so I'm looking at possibly we see that continuation into early next week. And I also did talk about this low here as well. For me, Bitcoin, again, it's still overly bullish. We're still printing in those higher highs and higher lows. We are struggling a little bit at the highs there, so it's a bit of a red flag, but we are trading at the prior all-time highs. So essentially we're just struggling at this price, and until we see major breaker structures, I'm still expecting price to continue and at least get back to its previous swing high at 74k. So yeah, for Bitcoin next week, still looking for the same opportunity as I was talking about last week, which is the break, not the break and retest, sorry, the retest of this low, or the retest of this low, just to anticipate the market holding that structure and continuing off it. If we do see price break through both of those points, then that actually might mean some more downside, because we're taking up the lows here, failing to create higher highs. That for me is a big red flag, and we might be seeing price actually continue a lot lower. I still expect it to be a retracement. It might mean we just test some areas here before going bullish, but we can probably find some sell opportunities beforehand rather than just looking to buy, which at this point for me is still the best option. So going into next week for Bitcoin, still expecting more upside, looking at a retest of those lows there. If we can hold them, see some significant reactions, I think that would be a smart place to go long either one of these two areas, depending if they hold. If the first level doesn't hold, we're looking at the second area around 161.758. First one we've got around 65k. So we'll see what type of price action we get at those areas. If it looks good, I think buys look good. And of course, taking it back to resistance, back to the high. But there are other areas you can look to partial out or trail stop loss. That'll be depending on your risk management and your trade management, how you look to deem that fit. So Bitcoin for me is still bullish, looking at buying opportunities at those areas. Let's see if we can get those setting up for next week. But I do think we can still go and hit 74k. And last but not least, we've got our bonus pair, which for this week is NZD USD. So NZD USD, another dollar pair, looking good for selling opportunities. I was selling this one, not last week, the week before, I believe, on this opportunity here. I was looking for the continuation of the break and retest of this low. However, it looks like I just timed that a little bit early. Price had one more push up before we are seeing the continuations now, but I do think I'll be able to find an opportunity to get back into the trade. Hence why it's on the bonus pair for this week. So looking for price to eventually head back to the lows here. We're still very consistent with the lower lows and lower highs. Essentially, the market's had a retest of this low, maybe a slight fake out to the upside in the lower time frames, but essentially a very big rejection of that area. You can see it better on the weekly chart. Big wick to the upside, closing strongly to the downside. That's a big bearish shooting star. I do think we'll see some follow through next week as well. So similar opportunity to NZD USD. What am I looking at? Breaking retest. We've got this low here, looking for the retest of that. That is my preferred number one opportunity. But also, if let's say the market is just very bearish and we just continue ripping to the downside, then I'll be looking at the retest of this low here to then short as well. So similar to NZD USD. Not NZD, similar to Aussie dollar. Really nice opportunities on the retest of those levels. We'll see what type of price action we can get at those areas. If we do see some nice shift in momentum, I'll be more than happy to enter at one of these levels. I mean, this level here, I still need price to push a little bit further down first before I look for the retest, but this level here is ready and waiting, and overall looking for a push down to 0.58, sorry. So yeah, NZD for me looking really good. Multiple time frames lining up. Higher time frames look bearish. Low time frames look bearish. We've got bearish structure and now really strong bearish momentum as well. So for me, this is a no-brainer. Looking for pullbacks to short. Dollar looks very bullish as well, so that adds into some nice correlation for NZD shorts as well. So there's a lot of ticks here. We just now need to wait for the setup really and the entry signal. So hopefully we can get some nice pullbacks this week for NZD and the other dollar pair, and I'll be more than happy to look to trade those and get some nice shorting opportunities. But guys, that does bring us to the end of the analysis. If you have found it useful, please be sure to hit the like button. It really does help out the channel. Make sure you subscribe as well and hit the bell so you don't miss out on any streams or uploads in the future. Leave a comment down below any pairs you're looking to trade next week. I'm keen to find out, guys, but I will be posting my watch list at the start of the week, so make sure you do check out the Telegram channel, link to that. But guys, have a fantastic weekend, have a great day, and I'll catch you all in the next one.